Alright guys, so I'm just going to go over quickly the tank destroyer skills, and the perks that is. This is the last class I'll be doing. I won't be doing SPGs because they're SPGs, so I'm going to just end it with these, and I'm also going to highlight non-turreted tank destroyers. Turreted tank destroyers play much the same as lightly armored heavy tanks, especially the T110E4. It's a very good support heavy role, not so good at long range, and the 4005 is kind of just a random tank that does nothing really like any other tank. Again, not great accuracy, so we're just going to stick to the non-turrets because they are a little bit different than the other ones. So let's go ahead and take a look at a crew with a little bit more skills. Let's see if I can find one here. The STRV is a great example here. So we're going to open up these, and as you can see, it's only a 3-man skip crew, but this is probably your most Clan Wars viable or meta tank destroyer, so we're going to talk about that. And I'll go over the E4 quickly, even though I said it's like the heavies. We'll just talk about some things there. So when you're looking at, oh, this is the radio operator. I was wondering where Sixth Sense went. So this is the commander. Again, Sixth Sense, super important. In tank destroyers, I'd start training vision a little bit later. I find that concealment and being able to fire from cover is much more important. Your role is to do a lot of damage, as much as you possibly can to support the team. So if you're spotting, your team has probably already started to fall. So you want to maximize your ability to put out damage. With that, Sixth Sense, Brothers in Arms, and Camouflage, those are really your important 3 on a tank like this that sits kind of in the back. Now, one thing I will talk about with the non-turreted is the gunner. I've said in all the other videos, snapshot is super important. It is not important in non-turreted tank destroyers. And the reason for that is pretty self-explanatory, but we're going to go over it quickly anyway. Improves the accuracy during turret rotation. If you don't have a turret, you're not rotating a turret, it doesn't really help. So that's why the turreted ones are very similar to heavy tanks, and these ones are kind of different. You could also put Deadeye on as you get deeper into it because it has a high rate of fire and you want to knock out modules, but this is probably your best setup for the commander early on, especially on something like the STRV that maximizes camo value. For the driver, clutch braking becomes the most important crew skill. When you have no turret, your turret is the whole tank. That thing needs to be able to traverse. So this is hugely important, and because it is a skill, you can start training it right away, so I would highly suggest going for clutch braking in your non-turreted tank destroyers first. Brothers in Arms and Camouflage are the given, and that again just lets you stay unlit as long as possible, and this allows you to be able to refocus things or try and stop people from circling you. And finally, we have the radio operator. He does double, I believe, as the loader. Yep, he does. So you could do safe stowage, but again, it's the same theory as the light mediums and the light tanks, where if you're getting shot, things have probably gone very, very wrong, especially in a tank destroyer like the STRV. You want to stay unlit. So I like to use situational awareness to try and spot the enemies a little farther away if my frontline tanks have died down, and then Brothers in Arms and Camouflage to stay unlit as long as possible and maximize that ridiculous concealment value. As you guys can see, it's very high. The other thing that I'd like to highlight here is a tank like the 268 version 4. Even though it's not really a sniping non-turreted tank destroyer, the crew skills are still very much the same. As you can see, we have the clutch braking on here, we have the Brothers in Arms, and repairs will probably be the next thing I train on here. As you can see, they have repairs going here and here. None of these are perks, they're all skills being trained that I will keep and then reset if need be. So that's non-turret tank destroyers, just wanted to give a brief overview. And as you can see, the T110E4, which I said I would just show very quickly, very similar to a heavy tank because it plays very much like a heavy tank. So that's the non-turreted tank destroyers.